Hey there, Blossoms. You know, Celeste has been out since early January 2018, and since that point, the game has had such a loyal and large community that hasn't seemed to waver that much. And I've just wondered to myself, what is creating this enchanting, almost cult-like community around this game? What is making people, fall in love with it? After playing this game for quite some time and doing the really hard levels and completing everything basically, I think I finally understand why people love this game so much. So today I want to share that almost esoteric knowledge with you, but I'm going to take you through in a first-person perspective and try and make it as spoiler-free as possible so that if you guys haven't played this game, when you do play it, you'll have lots of fresh experiences and it will still be rather new and awesome to you. Oh, and there's this really cool character called Theo in the game, and Theo is like my middle name, so I'm going to try and dress up like him a bit. It's probably going to be the worst cosplay of 2021, but here we go. Well, I'm kind of missing the beard, but that's okay. Who misses bearded Sam anyway? Not me. Bearded Sam is never coming back. Well, if you've got your bags packed and you've got your hiking equipment ready, let's climb this mountain. So the first thing that pulls people into this game, I feel, is the movement and the mechanics. Everything feels so fluid and rhythmic, and just in general, the game feels incredibly responsive to the controls you're putting in. There's sort of a momentum to your movements that just feels really good. Like the game has a lot of gravity to it, and you sort of get a sense of a whole new world of physics in the consistency of those movements. I don't know if you've ever heard the term deceptively simple before, but I feel like that's the controls of Celeste in a nutshell. I mean, I'm just grabbing onto a wall here, I can dash upwards. Really, what more is there to learn in the game? But the game slowly teaches you more and more mechanics, and there's even like hidden mechanics, so you always feel like you're improving or bettering a new skill set. For instance, I could climb up these walls like this. Right? Simple enough. But I could also climb up these walls like this. That's an improvement in speed, right? But I could also climb up those walls like this. What was that, you are? Well, I can't really tell you what that's called. I'm gonna keep it a secret from now. But there's a lot of mechanics like that in the game, like this. And it really changes how you play the game, and you learn them as you go on. And some of them aren't even necessary to complete the game. That's the crazy thing. You can just learn them and make your life easier and look cooler while you play. It's kind of wild, but there's a lot of stuff like that in the game, and I really enjoy that. And it's not just your character's movements that feel quite good, it's everything else in the world that you interact with. For instance, we've got this box here. It has its own momentum and drive to it, which again, you get used to. It's consistent. It might be a bit weird with some of the objects, but yeah. The best way I can describe it is this game has a very pleasant rhythm to it. And just like people like certain genres of music and song, the rhythm of movement in Celeste has its own audience and genre that people seem to love and adore. But speaking of rhythm, we need to talk about the music in this game. So I feel like the music really makes it come to life. And to be honest with you guys, it absolutely slaps. And the thing is about the music is there's not just different soundtracks for each individual level, but there's different soundtracks for each difficulty of the level. Because you have the original level difficulty called A, but there's a B and C side to these levels which has its own difficulty. It tends to be a lot harder, and they have completely different soundtracks to them. You can hear the soundtrack to this level is absolutely slapping. It's got a whole thematic to it. But if we switch to the B side or the C side, there's a whole other more serious tone to this soundtrack, which is like a different version of the original one. And one thing I really love about the music in this game is, yeah, it evolves, and it even evolves throughout the level sometimes, but it's always got a sense of time and place. It always seems like it fits the right level or the right challenge. Right now, we're on a very hard mode of a previous level, and for that reason, the song sounds like it's a lot more serious. The music always kicks in at just the right time, and sometimes there's a build-up, especially with the bosses. For instance, we're talking to this guy in the hotel right now, and the music's kind of creepy, kind of awkward. It's giving me bad juju vibes, right? But there's nothing intense going on. But wait for it. We've just had a rather dramatic dialogue encounter with one of the characters, and the music is very slow paced, it's not very intense, It's very self-aware. The music makes you think that we're about to leave this level, but then all of a sudden you're in a boss fight and the music dramatically changes, and it's all super intense and you don't even know what you're doing, and you're just getting absolutely destroyed by this huge, massive head and trying to live, and it's all very intense and everything matches perfectly. You know, imagine this without that change in tempo. Imagine if the music didn't suddenly drastically change based on the characters coming to life like this. The music sets the tone as much as the artwork and the characters do, and it really adds to the level and what you're doing. And that's why the boss fights in this game are like my favorite levels, because it's always super intense and epic, because again, they know when to put the music in. It's also worth noting that the sound effects in this game, for instance, when you jump or when your character dies, are not annoying, which is really important because you can die thousands of times in this game. You know, do you hear that sound just then? This is the cute little sound you make when you have to try again. Just a nice little sound. It's not like, Mamma Mia, or anything crazy like that. It's just, you know, nothing annoying, nothing you wouldn't mind hearing over 1,000 times. It's the same with the dash. It's got this nice little sound. So I didn't find myself annoyed with any of the sound effects. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot to mention. The characters' voices are adorable. And you know, you guys have all seen pixel art before. I've seen pixel art before. We've played Stardew Valley. But this is a whole other level. And every single level has its own unique beauty and identity to it. I mean, just look at the Aurora Borealis here. And I'm flying around basically as a shooting star. I mean, this was one of the most beautiful scenes in the game for me. It felt so divine and celestial. And the art always seems very fitting for the level you're on. For instance, I'm flying through the sky right now as a shooting star. So it's very fitting that, you know, we're in like this Aurora Borealis area. And speaking of which, the animations in the game are just downright beautiful. I mean, let's just slow this down and look at this. There's a real variety in themes to this game, and you almost feel like you're exploring every landscape a mountainous area could ever have to offer. Sometimes the art is super vibrant, like this gorgeous water area that we're in right now. But at other times, it's very creepy and dark, like the mirror temple we're in right now. And I just feel like the art always hits the spot for whatever the area or level is trying to portray. And not to mention that it's insanely creative. This level in particular can switch between cold climates and hot climates, and you really get a feel for that in the way the art is shown. This level's about to completely switch on us. Now we're suddenly in a hot environment when we were just in a glacial environment, and I just think that's wild. And then you just have levels like this, and you're like, what is going on? This is so abstract, but at the same time, you kind of get it. And I really feel like the way this game interacts with the senses is crucial to why people love it so much, because it has this amazing soundtrack, it has this amazing music, it has this amazing art, it has this amazing animations, and the movement feels good. It looks good and it sounds good. And I feel like when people think about this game and they play this game, it's a very positive experience, no matter how stressful it gets trying to complete a really tough level. So I feel like that's a huge part of it. Now we're going to talk about some of the deeper elements in Celeste, and we're going to start with level design. The relationship the player has with the level in Celeste is a lot like the ideal relationship between the student and the teacher. The teacher is giving out all of this knowledge and these lessons and these examples of how to do things, but the student has to put in the effort and have the willingness to learn as well. And that's where the levels sort of meet in the middle in this perfect amalgamation in this game, because you will fail over and over again and look to the level as a teacher to try and figure it out, and you will grow. And when you learn from these levels, it's extremely rewarding. For instance, let's take this mechanic here. The game wants me to shoot over to the right by using this mechanic that it's trying to teach me. So I'm going to follow it, and now I jump at exactly the moment that the momentum stops on that object. I've made it all the way over here. And it's taught me that. I had to fail to learn that. I had to keep trying and trying again. So the game's a really good teacher, and the levels are designed like that, so you always feel like you're progressing and learning something new. It creates a really enjoyable learning experience, even when things don't quite go to plan. But eventually you figure things out, and once you do, it's extremely rewarding. But the game can also be very, very challenging, and there are optional challenges and bits of the game that you can do if you really want to test your limits. And I think it's really awesome to have the option to do that. For instance, there's this level. How many times do you think I died on this level? How long do you think this level took me to do? I spent 4.5 hours trying to do this level, and I died 1,291 times. And you know what? That sounds insane, but I wouldn't take it back for the world. That challenge that I set for myself was so difficult, but it was so rewarding. That's what I really love about this game, is you can have the levels be as challenging as you want. I mean, on the normal version, I only died 637 times, so that's not too bad, right? But this game isn't some Dark Souls game that's always going to be really difficult and unforgiving and punishing. The game has a very good pacing to it. For instance, I only died 94 times on this level, which isn't actually that much if you think about it. And the difficulty pacing is really good, and there's even an assist mode if it gets too difficult for you and you're really enjoying the story. And another great thing about this game, the bosses are really, really bosses. You'd think in a game where you can't conventionally attack that a boss fight would never be fun, but in this game, the opposite is true. It makes it even more fun. The bosses feel hard, the bosses feel challenging, and they're incredibly engaging. When you fight a boss, it feels like you're really fighting the boss. Oh, and one more thing. This game has so many secrets. Remember this room we were in and we just cleared it the way we thought we were meant to clear it? Well, watch this. I just jump over it and I go up here. I go through the secret entrance here. And suddenly I'm in this very strange room. And this secret room is where you unlock the B-sides and the C-sides. And they've got this weird sort of Mario rhythm going on, and it's really fun and cool, and it has its own unique mechanic. There's a lot of secrets in this game, and they do unlock things, so yeah, good fun. There's one crucial element to games that really resonates with the players, and that's character design. And in Celeste, the characters are really relatable, specifically the main character, Madeline. She's just a girl who had enough of it one day and decided that she wanted to climb a mountain. Even the characters, like this granny, you just love to hate them. Or maybe you just love them. She's very sassy, and I think the things that she says are the things that we want to say, but maybe don't say sometimes. But I think the key point is, you see a lot of characters in games, and they're extrapolated versions of personalities in the real world. Like, you've got a character who's super outgoing and he's never sad no matter what gets him down. Or you've got this incredibly pure-hearted warrior nun and nothing ever seems to really affect her. She always seems to be doing the right thing. Or you've got the main character who's overly naive and doesn't really know what's going on at any point, but hey, they're gonna keep on going. Or the edgy cool type who's always got an aura of mystique and is always somehow badass, no matter the clumsy nature of existence. But in this game, the old lady, Madeline, Theo, they're just regular folk. Might be a little bit sassy, but they're very relatable, very human. And I think that's really important because even the inner demons of Madeline are relatable to the kind of bad thoughts that sometimes enter our own minds in day-to-day life. And so the things that actually occur in this game feel like they hit on a personal level all the way through. No matter how fantastic and grand the adventure of climbing a mountain by yourself and flying through the sky is, the actual characters and their inner journey are extremely relatable and extremely down to earth. And I think that keeps people connected to the game on an inner level and makes people really resonate with what the game's about. Oh, and no spoilers, but this game has the best character progression I think I've ever seen in a game before. In fact, you could say that the entire point of the game is character progression, both in Madeline and in yourself as the player. But all those things can make you really, really like or enjoy a game. But to really love a game in its entirety, I think the story and the philosophies in the game are super important because it needs to hit on a deeper level for you to generate that much emotion and love for the game. And I think the philosophies in this game are absolutely beautiful. You could say a lot of the game's focus is around inner harmony and not pushing things down or pretending they don't exist, but confronting them in a way that results in growth. The game even teaches you about anxiety and how you can deal with it. And anxiety is something we've all struggled with at least some point in our lives. It teaches you this incredible technique where you imagine a feather floating in front of you, and your breathing keeps that feather floating. So it's a breathing technique to help with anxiety when you're having a panic attack. And I think it's so beautiful that this game teaches you that. And of course there's other lessons as well, but this is just one of the many things that it teaches you. In the game, you actually have to keep the feather in the box by controlling the buttons. And it's very similar when you're trying to control your breathing as well. And then as you do that, the music stops and it becomes more peaceful and quiet. And I thought it was wonderful that it taught us this. You gotta love Theo. He's such a cutie. It teaches you that no matter how difficult a goal, a level, a task, or an objective is, no matter how grand and scary it may seem, that through taking little steps and trying and trying and trying again, you will eventually overcome it. And sometimes we don't see the ways that our failures or our tries are teaching us until we get past the level, until we start to see the little improvements here and there. And I'll get into that more in a video I'm going to make. It really teaches you that trying again is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a very good thing. It teaches you that you're always growing as you progress further and further up the mountain and learn more about yourself and overcome challenges both in the external world of the game and in the internal world, inside of the player and inside of Madeline. And it teaches us that challenges can be fun if we approach them in the right way. It's all a matter of thinking and perspective. The game teaches you to think of your failures as successes and the no's to be making up the yeses. And trust me, it really does teach you to channel your frustrations and turn them into inner zen, because I cannot describe to you how frustrated I got with this particular level. But you'll hear more about that when I do my tier list of Celeste levels. So, why do people love Celeste so much? You know what? I think my honest answer, going through all of that, is I think people love Celeste because the game isn't about getting to the top of a mountain. That journey, I think, is a metaphor of the journey of learning to love yourself, understand yourself, overcome your inner demons. And in this game, you do that with an awesome soundtrack, gorgeous scenery, rewarding challenges, exciting levels, and lovable, relatable characters. And what you give to the game in time, it gives back with wonderful lessons and philosophies. That really is my honest opinion, and I have to say, I'm pretty happy I climbed Mount Celeste. Well, Blossoms, I hope you have more insight to that question through watching this video, and I really enjoyed exploring it with you guys. But I really want to know, what do you love about Celeste? What draws you in? Because that was all my own perspective, my own view, my own opinion of the game. But I want to know, to you guys that have played it, or you guys that haven't played it and are thinking about it, what really attracts you to the game? Oh, and yeah, before I forget, if you guys enjoyed this, don't like and subscribe. Bet you didn't expect that, did you? Bet you didn't expect me to do that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do a random dance in your room and then fire rainbows out of a gun into the sky. I'm just kidding. You know what to do if you enjoyed it. Just let me know. Hey, maybe subscribe, maybe not. It's whatever. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next Celeste videos. And you know what? Climbing mountains is hard. Maybe kick your feet up, have a nice cup of tea, play a cozy game, or watch a cozy anime. See you guys next time. Take it easy, Blossoms.